Good day, Soul Crew! Today I'm joined by the founder of the upcoming play to earn NFT game called Legends of Venari. Everybody, please welcome Jason Lenopix Do. Nice,
Hey everyone.
nice to finally talk to you, Jason. How are you doing?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time as well. My guild, DGG or Dynamite Gaming Guild, has recently partnered with your team and your game, Legends of Venari, and that's given me this opportunity to be able to ask you some questions. Can you tell our viewers what exactly Legends of Venari is all about?
Yeah, for sure. Legends of Venari at its core is kind of a creature collection RPG game. So if you ever played like Pokemon Go, we're really focused on the collectability factor. And so kind of like when you start off
Okay.
playing Legends of Venari, everyone's starting at the same place, right? You're all
Mhm.
starting at level one. You're all trying to catch all these like cool Venari, and we really want to make it fair for everyone involved. So everyone's essentially on the same page. There's really like not too much like pay to win aspects, and at its core, it's a very
Basically, creature collection is the main goal of the game, would you
At,
say?
at its core, yeah, very focused around exclusivity factors.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay. So let's talk a little bit about the actual Venaris. So will all of these Venaris be NFTs? And what can you do with the Venaris?
yeah, for sure. We really wanted to be a good user experience in terms of catching these Veneri,
Mhm.
and so I guess this goes back into what kind of blockchain you guys are using because essentially we're using ETH
Yeah.
for kind of our pass system. So any kind of like passes are on the ETH blockchain.
Okay.
For Venari themselves, they're going to be off chain for the most part, as well as like the game.
Mhm.
So while you're playing the game, while you're catching these Venari, most of these Venari are going to be stored off chain. So you can
Okay.
play the entire game without interacting with the blockchain.
Okay.
And we allow users to mint these Venari as NFTs. So
Mm.
if you have a Venari, you could kind of think of it as okay, you can optionally mint it as an NFT.
Oh, so you mean when you catch them, technically they're not minted yet until you decide to mint them as a NFT.
Yeah, we really want to focus on a good user experience, and so that's kind of our
Yeah.
approach to it. Yeah.
Because like building on ETH is really good security wise, but everybody hates the extremely high gas fees.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because actually, I
Yeah.
read something in the white paper that you guys are planning an L2 blockchain similar to like a Ronin wallet of Axie Infinity.
Yeah. So that's definitely one way we're thinking of
Hmm.
expanding in terms of L2 solution. It probably would be more around like a ZK rollup solution, if
Okay.
anything,
Yeah.
where we like do something custom. Um, but yeah, for now, I think in terms of launching it, when I think about launch and when I think about who's actually playing the game,
Yeah.
um, our main focus is we're building a game first.
Yeah.
We're not building this
Exactly.
as like
Not like an
uh,
investment, so to speak, first. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I really don't want to teach people like how to do transactions. I don't
Mm.
want to teach people to move funds from an exchange to like a layer two wallet and like there's
Yeah.
just so much kind of like hurdles and
Mm.
like barriers to entry. And so, with our game, especially just like starting out as a scholar, uh, what you really need to do is you just need to activate a pass. And so, when your account is
Mm.
activated, every single thing within the game you can play without any kind of like transactions involved.
Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about scholarships. So we know that the game will be play to earn in a way.
Mm.
So how will the scholarships work?
Yeah, so that goes back into kind of our pass system,
Okay. Well, actually,
and
can you elaborate the pass system first for our viewers?
yeah, so on launch, there's going to be essentially 3,750 people
Hmm.
that can play the game on launch.
Okay.
That's split between 600 gilded passes and 3,150 alpha passes.
Okay.
So you could think of a pass as an NFT. You can trade it with someone else, but the utility wise of this pass is it allows you to activate an account.
Okay.
And so, for example, let's say I have an Alpha Pass.
Mhm.
I can activate it for my own account. An account is basically an email address, and you can
Mhm.
like authorize it with a magic link.
Okay.
So you just really need an email address to play our game.
Okay.
So when you activate an account with a pass, it basically activates the account for 30 days and deactivates your pass for 30 days as well.
Oh, okay.
So how it works is you could still like trade the pass even if you activate it for someone else.
Mhm.
It just means that the buyer can't activate another person's account until that cooldown is finished.
Oh,
So
okay.
the reason why we do this is because we don't want, let's say, someone create 1,000 accounts and like
Yeah.
passes the pass around to all of them and
Right.
activates them. So that's
Mhm.
kind of our system, and then that goes back into lending, right? Instead of just activating for my account for 30 days,
Mhm.
we allow a user to activate
Somebody else's account.
someone else's account
Yeah.
for 30 days as well. And so in that case, we're able to also provide them with the opportunity to like set like a percentage, right? Between
Mm.
0 and 100% of
Okay.
like, that's kind of like, for any kind of Venari that you do catch and you do trade on our secondary market, that kind of like pass holder will get that percent. I could think of it
Mm.
maybe like 50% or whatever like slider value
So
you choose.
so the pass holder actually has an ability to set how much percentage before he activates an account.
Yeah, so that's agreed upon with you and I guess like the scholar.
Ah,
So how it would work is the scholar would be able to see upfront, like, okay, how much percent I'm giving up.
mhm.
And if you do accept that, your account is activated for those 30 days with that percentage.
Oh, okay. So at least it's automated, so you don't have to have like a
Oh, yeah.
verbal agreement on it, right? Yeah.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, like when we were building out this kind of like pass and everything
Yeah.
around it, we actually didn't know about scholars at all. We
Mm.
didn't know about like lending at all too. And it just so happens that what we were building just really worked out in the scholarship program.
Mm.
So that's kind of like why we're really aiming to build for like scholars in the future.
That's
And
interesting.
so
Yeah.
yeah, and that goes into mobile support, lending, and yeah, just overall making sure that guilds feel kind of like well integrated in our system.
Well, you mentioned certain platforms. What platforms do you plan to have this released, and what platforms will be immediately available?
Yeah, so like, I guess like in like the early days of Legends of Venari, we wanted to build for desktop because that's kind of the easiest route to go for, and it would be more around browser based.
Yeah.
But as we had talks with a lot of these guilds, what we found is most users use mobile. And
Yeah.
so we kind of like really pivoted and shifted our efforts into making sure that even though it's a browser based game, it's available for desktop as well as mobile on any kind of browser. That being
Yeah.
said, on launch, we're really aiming to make sure that mobile users can play.
Oh,
Desktop users can
nice.
play as well. So it's essentially as long as you have a browser, you're able to play the game. We're really trying to focus on like optimizing the system, right? Right now, the
Right.
game uh, it is kind of like it uses a ton of GPU actually, and so I like the graphics is really good, but like
Yeah.
it's just it takes up a lot of like GPU currently. So we're really trying to like optimize that, and that's kind of our goals before our launch. Um, on phone, it's fine, but like on desktop, like my MacBook is sometimes like
It's on
overheats right
fire.
now. Yeah, I could hear my
Yeah.
fan. Yeah.
Well, if you can, like, I've seen some of the sneak peeks and some of the like art that was released, and it's a beautiful game. It's like a 3D
Mhm.
game, lots of particle effects. We love to see that.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
so yeah, lots of
yeah.
the GPU will be certainly will be
Yeah, yeah.
used
I
a
mean,
lot.
like the aesthetic is a lot of it is like videos, like
Mhm.
rendered videos, and, like downloaded videos, or it would be like 3JS, so actually
Wow.
like rendering everything out.
Okay.
Um, I guess like one thing I didn't mention about the lending system
Mm.
is, um, although we're starting off with 3,150 alpha passes,
Okay.
we want to expand our users past that, right?
Mhm.
But we want to grow at an organic way. And so that goes into the idea of like base passes and
Base
the
passes.
generation of base passes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so essentially how it works is when you mint an alpha pass, you kind of have a number that you roll between 1 and 7,
Okay.
and that's the obtainable number of base passes you can unlock with kind of like active gameplay. So
Mm.
think of it as like you roll 5. That means you can unlock 5 more
Five more
base passes.
accounts. Or so, five more
Yeah,
base passes to give
yeah.
to
So
other people.
they're basically NFTs as well. And
Oh,
so
okay.
in terms of how we want to distribute these, we want to make sure we're rewarding people who are actively playing our game.
Yeah.
We want to reward people who are essentially our ambassadors, right? We want to grow in an organic way, and so it's pretty difficult to like unlock a base pass. So it would probably
Mm.
be something like 1 base pass per month of active gameplay, and so that goes into lending, right? If you're playing the game on behalf of someone else, you're
Yeah.
earning base passes
For
for
them as well.
them as well. Yeah,
Okay. I see.
and so yeah, that's kind of how we're growing in terms of as base passes get more generated, they're going to the hands of people who are actually playing the game. And so
So
eventually we're getting, yeah.
so basically with these alpha and base passes, thus the number of players in the game is really controlled, right? Because not everybody will be able to
Yeah.
start playing. Or is this only just for the alpha, and then when you move on from the alpha, it'll be a little bit different?
So this is essentially you can think of it as your ticket into the game.
Okay.
So you must have a pass to play the game, whether that's
Mm,
like an alpha pass, base pass. I would imagine most people in the future will be playing with base
with the base
passes, right?
pass. Yeah.
And it's kind of like you have like Genesis axes and then like all the rest of the axes. Yeah, so that's kind of like the same kind of system in that sense.
Okay. Well, I've also seen in the white paper there's something called like seasonal passes as well. So, and I think like per season there's a certain number of Venari that's limited to that season. Can you expand a little bit more on that?
Yeah. So we don't really have seasonal passes, but we do
Oh,
have seasons.
okay.
Um, yeah. So the idea of seasons is the idea that okay, in a certain time period, we're going to have certain events, and certain Venari will show
Mm,
up, and so that goes kind of into the value that Venari hold, right? We're really trying to make sure. Um, when we're building out this game from the ground up, it's really focused around these key players: blockchain gamers, NFT collectors, and guilds. And that goes into the value of Venari. And so when we're designing this, where we're trying to think, okay, how can we make sure Venari feel valuable to the end user?
yeah.
And one of the ways is definitely like seasons. Once seasons last about 3 months, so you could think of it as like alpha would be from December all the way until February or so. And so during that time period, um, currently we have like around 116 different kinds of like Venari that can be caught, right?
Okay.
And once the season ends, we're going to completely change like the pool of like Venari that are able to be caught.
Mm,
And in season one, there will be like brand new Venari, a lot of different kinds of like uh, shakeups that can happen in terms of like events that we're doing.
I see.
But yeah, most of the Venari in the alpha season would be like gone essentially. You can't
Ah,
find them anymore. Can't be caught anymore.
so then in
Um,
a sense it's like limited in only that particular time period.
yeah, yeah, essentially.
But there will still be some Venari that can be rolled over to the next season, right? Or is it like completely changed for the next season?
Uh, I would keep it open to like okay, for the exclusive ones, right? The 1 of 500s.
Yeah.
If like all 500 are caught, we're definitely not releasing them anymore, right? We want to make sure we go on our word for a lot of these things. That if it's like an exclusive Venari 1 of 500 and 500 caught, then
That's
they
it.
can't be caught anymore in like future seasons.
I see.
Um, for Venari that are like unlimited in quantity, I think that's like a touchy subject as well.
Mm,
Um, if we would do move past and like re-release it, it would probably be something where it wouldn't have like the Genesis tag.
I
And
see.
so in the alpha season, like every Venari will like
Have
kind
it
of have that
have a
Genesis
this.
tag associated with it as well.
So in a sense, even if you did roll over Venari, it would still be less unique than the Genesis Venari in
Yeah,
the alpha.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
essentially.
All right. So, what else can we do with the Venari? So, would you say, like, for example, somebody is trying to collect all the Venari?
Hmm.
What's to, like, would they just, can't they just buy all the Venari from the marketplace? And what would be, like, the end goal? And is there, like, PvP? Is there, what other
Hmm.
things can you do in the game?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. For us, in terms of not buying it, right? If you're just one account, just playing the game actively, it's really difficult to like essentially catch every single Venari in a season.
Yeah.
Um, we designed it that way to kind of like incentivize like trading amongst players, having a marketplace that is like liquid. In terms of yeah, people can like buy all the Venari in a season, right? That's kind of like what we hope for. We want people to like be excited about like getting like the
Getting
entire
all of
set.
them. Mm.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like it's very hard for people to kind of like get the entire set because it's just like, okay, some Venari are like 1 of 500s.
I see.
That means like maybe in total there'd be like 500 collections, but um other Venari there's like 1 of 100s, right? They're kind of like our really hard to get Venari, and
Yeah.
so just like completing the entire collection is just really difficult in general.
Mm.
That being said, we do want to make sure we're focusing around like demand generation of Venari in the future, and that goes into, okay, if you collect a certain like subset of Venari, we might give you like a cool badge or something. Or if you've seen like the sneak peek on our Discord with that like big cosmic whale that flies over,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So that goes kind of into our season one plans of, okay, you would need to like collect every single like tier one Venari, and each tier one Venari will take like hundreds of hours to like get. But if you like get every single one, then you unlock a quest line, and
Oh,
after that quest line, you might be able to like get a
gotcha.
chance at getting the one of one Venari, like the
Wow.
big cosmic whale. So it's just like it goes into we're really focusing on like the depth of the collection system. Um,
So would you say it's more targeted towards people that like collecting all of these Venari and like having a sense of fulfillment of doing particular quest lines to catch special Venari and things like that. That's what you're aiming for, basically, with the game.
I would say that for kind of our launch, that's kind of our goal in mind. It's really focusing around like the exclusivity. People who really love like the NFT ask
Yeah.
or the rarity factor. I mean, you can like play for free. Like once you have the pass, right? You can like generate like kind of like unlimited amounts of these NFTs in a sense.
Gotcha.
Um, what we want to do in the future is really focusing around kind of like expanding the utility of Venari,
Mm.
and that might go into like open world, that might go into like PvP and PvE. Um, but we want to build with our community first. So right now we're really starting out. We haven't even launched our game, right? It's
Yeah.
we really don't know like what our community really wants,
True.
and so the idea is we want to make sure that we're aligned with the community. We
Mm.
could like say, okay, we're doing like a turn-based game, or we're doing like a TFT-based like auto battler. I don't know, just like randomly guessing. But
Yeah.
until like
So
we yeah until like we focus our efforts into having this core game loop
mm.
working, um, we're like happy to like build with the community to figure out what it is that the community actually wants from these Venari.
I mean, that's great to have an open mind with the community. So, like, the game grows with the community, and the community actually dictates where the game will go. So, it's truly
Yeah,
decentralized
yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, I wouldn't call ourselves like a DAO. It's
Mhm.
just like we kind of still have like full
Full
like
control over.
creative control over
Okay.
like what kind of Venari gets distributed to like who it gets distributed.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say like we do take into account like heavily the feedback that we get, and we do like community votes in a sense
Mm.
with kind of our Vicari members, and that's like the people who have gilded passes, and
Okay.
so they were like voting on okay. Do we want like a bear in Legends of Venari? Do we want a bird in Legends of Venari?
Yeah.
So like we kind of like went through iterative process, right? At first, we voted on what type of Venari they wanted.
Hmm.
The latest one is like they wanted a dragon. And so we got together with our concept artists and we drew like 6 different kinds of dragons. And so right now they're voting on what specific type of dragon they actually want in Legends of Venari. And so that's kind of like I guess like the early kind of votes that we might have in terms of what actually gets into like our next season and like building along with community that way.
So, I mean, speaking of community, you guys have recently partnered with a lot of different projects and guilds. So, I've seen
Mm.
BYO Pills, the partnership. I've seen
Yeah.
partnerships with our guild, DGG. You've also partnered with Yield Guild Games, or YGG,
Yeah.
ASS, and a bunch of other guilds. So, what is the extent of your partnership with these guilds, and are there more collaborations moving forward with other projects or other guilds?
Yeah, for sure. We really do kind of like three things. The first is kind of more of a marketing partnership where
Okay.
we really just extend the kind of like alpha passes to certain guilds, and we really want to make sure that people are playing our game. People are like
Yeah.
having fun streaming our game. Um, that's kind of like our first kind of like partnership in a sense. It's just like to get guilds interested in our project and to our game really runs on people playing the game,
Yeah, of
eyes on the
course.
game, and yeah, essentially it's just a collectible game, right? So we
Hmm.
really focus our efforts into making sure that um, whoever's playing the game, there's like a lot of eyes on them in terms of, okay, can I get the rare one, or like what kind of collection
Yeah.
do I actually want? And so that's like why we're like focusing so heavily on guilds. The other kinds of like deals that we do with guilds is kind of like a batch deal. We work together in terms of figuring out um, if they want to build out their scholarship program,
I see.
they can purchase like a group of like alpha passes. And I guess like the third kind of deal that we really haven't like solidified yet is kind of more of a like I guess it's more like an exclusive event. We did do it with
Oh,
biopills, but that
yeah.
isn't with like a guild. And it's the
Mm.
idea of building out an exclusive Venari with them, building out an
Oh,
exclusive event with them. We're working with the artists of biopills to make sure that okay, this is like a cool looking Venari that they can catch exclusive to biopills, and we'd be open to doing that with like other projects as well, as long as like our interests are aligned, because we kind of do want to make sure that what we do build can actually like extend beyond our own like ecosystem, right? We want to
yeah.
bring like other
Other projects
kind of
in like a shared metaverse, so to speak.
yeah the the yeah the metaverse kind of like term gets used quite a bit. I
Yeah,
would like say it's like a collaboration of
collaboration.
sorts. Yeah,
Okay.
um,
Because I've
but
seen
yeah, I like it.
like BioPills has worked with other projects before, and they've given utility to BioPills. So maybe
Hmm.
that's something that you guys would be doing in the future with other projects as well.
Yeah. I imagine it's pretty. It's really like easy to add a new Venarian to our ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
It's really more about like who we want to bring on. If it's a
Yeah.
guild, if it's another project, we want to make sure that whoever it is that's coming onto Legends of Venari ecosystem is aligned with our entire vision of what we actually want to achieve. Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, we've been discussing about the game for a little while, but I want to actually talk about the tokens. So, I've read in the white paper they're called CC or careless credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and I also read that correct me if I'm wrong, but it won't be released at the same time as the alpha. So can you talk a little bit more about why it's not releasing at the same time as the alpha, and how will you guys, or how do you plan to release the tokens?
Yeah, that's a really good question. For us, when we started creating Legends of Venari, I really didn't want to include a token during launch. That was something I was really extremely against.
And why is that? Is it because you want to put gameplay first, or the game first before any other tokens, or?
Yeah, I guess for me personally,
Hmm,
it's the idea of if we kind of introduce tokens into Legends of Venari, the entire game shifts from the collection of Venari themselves of having value to okay, people are going to try and maximize how much tokens they're going to get during the game.
yeah,
And so that kind of shift in perspective is something that I really didn't want. It would just be okay, XYZ creatures give the most tokens. I'll just like farm those or something
I
around
see.
those lines. So our incentives right now are no one knows like what Venari is valuable, right?
Mhm.
When we launch the game, it's really difficult to figure out.
Yeah,
It's really more about okay, I want to catch like cool looking creatures in the game, and
yeah,
that's kind of like our thoughts on like why we create Legends of Venari, right? It's an NFT in a sense,
mhm,
it's art, and it's just something that we want people to feel a bond to, right? It might be like the first Venari they ever caught. It has value to them.
yeah.
And so that's really like what we're about. That being said, about our token, it's something that we do want to do in the future.
Okay.
It it's something that we want to do, but we want to do it properly. I've been a smart contract developer since like the very beginning of NFTs. I was like reading the CryptoKitties like contract when they first
Wow.
launched. I was like working with William Entrican, like the creator of smart contracts, like the ERC 720 standard. It's
Okay.
like talking with them in like GitHub the when they were like proposing like the standard, and I was like trying to give my thoughts on it as well. Um, and so I guess like what I'm trying to say is like we kind of know how to build tokens. We kind of know how to build like tokenomic structures of things. We have like an excellent advisor on how we might approach a token.
Okay.
And if we were to do a token, we want to make sure that it is done right and the incentives are aligned for everyone across the board.
Yeah.
And that really just takes time and making sure whatever we do roll out works well for everyone involved.
Yeah.
So I did give kind of like a couple examples, like what CC might be used for
Yeah.
in the white paper. For
I think it was
example,
like special baits, I believe,
yeah,
for
yeah,
Venaris, and
uh,
yeah, other. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I guess like the big thing is when we're trying to decide like the utility of any kind of token is that we really didn't want it to impact gameplay. You can't really use the tokens to like buy energy and like level up to like the
Yeah.
max level, right?
Basically,
Um,
avoiding the pay to win pitfalls.
yeah, yeah, essentially, right? If you do like if we do introduce something like that where it's just like you buy energy and it just becomes a sense of like who has the most money, right? And they
Exactly.
reach the late game the fastest in the
Fastest.
season. They catch all like the rare Venari and then call it a day. And then it
Yeah.
just becomes this vicious cycle of like, okay, they're like going to be selling their most rarest Venari and they're always going to be on top. And that's a system that we really didn't want. when you get into Legends of Venari, you're always going to be on the same page as everyone else, whether you're a whale, whether you're like a new player. And so you can't buy more energy. You always have like a certain amount of energy per account. And it's really about like your decisions within the game that really define your collection at the end of the day.
Yes.
What kind of baits you're using in which locations, and figuring out like, okay, um, if I use this rig with this Venari, and if I've used these actions, like I have like the highest odds, right? And that's really about like figuring out like the game essentially.
Okay. So I know you've been working hard these few days. You told me that you only got like 2 hours of sleep before this interview.
Oh man, yeah,
So
yeah. I was
so
worried. I slept at 6 to 8 right now.
yeah. So can you tell our viewers what upcoming events you guys have, and let everybody know how they can start joining the game early.
For sure, yeah. So our two major dates is our sale date as well as like the actual game launch. So our sale is going to be happening December 11th at 9 p.m. EST for the whitelisted users,
Okay.
and December 12th, 9 p.m. EST for like a public sale. And that's for the alpha passes. And our game launch tentatively is going to be December 18th, 9 p.m. EST as well. And yeah, that's kind of our plans in terms of rolling it out. Our whole team, we're so like, I'm so happy to like have my team. Like, I love them actually. They work so hard on this project. You see us all the time working at like, I don't even know why they're up sometimes. But it's just like 2 a.m., 5 a.m. We're just like constantly on Discord.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
Um,
good to have a team from different places, so at least somebody's always awake, right?
yeah, yeah. And it's just like we work an incredible number of hours. Just like this project wouldn't be able to get done without like the whole team.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really shows your passion towards the game will definitely pay off.
Yeah.
Especially like the game. I'm pretty excited. I didn't know the game was coming out in like a week. At least when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
post this video, it'll probably be around a week. So I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
close, and I'll probably give our viewers some gameplay footage as well when that actually releases. So
for sure, for
yeah, I'll
sure.
be streaming it or maybe posting a video on it. So hopefully,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, hopefully we'll be able to. I think DGG has some alpha passes, so I might be able to show our viewers some
Let's do
footage.
it.
So yeah, so anyway, Jason, before we wrap things up, do you have any final words for our viewers or your team or anybody else?
um, yeah, yeah. For Legends of Venari, I guess like the closing thoughts that I have is we're we're a team of gamers essentially. Um, when you kind of look at Legends of Venari in a sense, we're really building this out as a world.
Yeah,
Um, there's a lot of lore behind Legends of Venari. We're really like focused on the detail of like all the Venari that kind of get created in this world, and the quality that goes into it really shows. For us, it's not really just about building this as a game. It's really about building this as a community, as like this entire like ecosystem. And I guess like that's kind of like what differentiates us in a sense. Each Venari has like an own description. There's like 17 pages of lore that we
whoa,
have in store.
insane.
Um, yeah, and at the end of the day, like we're gamers. We want to build this game because it's a game that we truly want to play as well, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like we probably can't play the game because otherwise like we would like stomp everyone else. Um, but yeah, it's just something that we really like are putting our hearts into.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of our closing thoughts.
All right, sounds good, Jason. I'm excited for the game and your public sale and whitelist sale that's coming out soon. I'll have the links down in the description of this video. And thank you again, Jason, for taking the time for this interview. And if our viewers have any questions, I'll make sure to direct them to your Discord, and hopefully they'll find out more about the game. So thank you, Jason. Nice talking to you. I'll talk to you soon again.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Thank you guys for staying until the end of this video interview. Legends of Venari has given me some alpha passes to give away, so stay tuned for that in the channel. I'll be announcing it on my community page and maybe also on Twitter, so stay on the lookout. Again guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!